There are only 7 days left until release date. That's 1 week. We're almost there. While we're waiting, we're talking through some of the experiences that led to me going to Pakistan, or almost not going to Pakistan, and then subsequently writing this book. So yesterday we talked about some of the training that formed a foundation for me to practice in, various response environments. Today I want to share something a little different, share about an experience that almost prevented me from deciding to go to Pakistan in the first place. So shortly after I moved to Vancouver, I was invited by a small group of paramedics and nurses who traveled regularly to Honduras to provide medical aid and humanitarian aid to rural areas of Honduras. So that seemed like a really good opportunity for me to use my skills in a meaningful way, and so I agreed to go. So I approached friends and family for donations, and I gathered, school supplies for kids and medical supplies for the clinics and whatnot, and off we went to Honduras. So that first year, the trip was a whirlwind. Like, I had never been to Honduras. I'd never participated in anything like this. We spent a couple of days doing clinics in a really rural village. We went to a school and delivered the school supplies and posed for photos with the children. And then we went and spent a few days at an orphanage where we helped dig foundations for a dormitory for the girls. So that felt really good. It felt like practically useful. In the evenings we played soccer with the kids. We left a lot of donated cash for the orphanage. It felt good. And then we had 2 weeks. We went and explored some cultural sites. We went and spent a week on the beautiful island of Roatan. And overall it was a good experience. But I went back the next year, and I started seeing it through a bit of a different lens. Like, I wasn't certain that I couldn't see any benefits. There's the circumstance of the people was the same year over year. The dormitory never was built in the time that I went back, despite other groups also going and digging the foundation. It started to feel like those trips were more for us than for the people we were helping. And I probably don't know the whole big picture, and it's a common problem that you can't actually see the impact you're having while you're there. So I don't know whether we were making a good decision or not, but I didn't feel good about it, and I'd made the decision, like, I didn't want to participate in that anymore. So to sort through my thoughts after that, because I couldn't really put a finger on what I was feeling, I started researching, and that's where I came across the term poverty tours, or slum tours as they're more commonly called, which is essentially where people of means travel through areas of poverty, usually with a really good intention of helping, either through financial contributions or more commonly, raising awareness so that other people are aware of the plight of these people. And the benefits and ethics of that have been debated for decades, if not centuries. The first reference articles I could find about that were actually from the early 19th century. Oxford and Cambridge universities were doing studies on slum tours, as they were known in Victorian England, where noblemen and women would travel through the slums, to see how the other half lived, I guess. And they were studying that to see if there were risks or benefits that could inform social policy. So it's not a new phenomenon. And in many cases, raising, the awareness raised of underserved populations can actually lead to meaningful improvements for the population, but often it just kind of romanticizes the plight of poverty. I found an excerpt actually from a paper that was submitted to the Human Rights in Tourism Roundtable in 2016, and I've included the caption for it, or the link for it in the caption, if you want to read it yourself. But it struck me, and it says, poverty tourism can perpetuate images of misery and despair, which misrepresent the complex and organized social structures that are the reality. Conversely, there's a danger that in seeking to make the slums attractive, even locally run tours can aestheticize and depoliticize poverty. Cultural stereotypes and fantasies can distort the reality of poverty, promoting images of the exotic, authentic, and of happy communities. That's an excerpt from Slum Tourism, Helping to Fight Poverty or Voyeuristic Exploitation by Elizabeth Monroe and Peter Bishop. So to this day, I don't know if my concerns about the Honduras trips were justified, as I don't know the impact we did or didn't have, but they were enough to make me want to step back and not participate in that, as that was my only experience with humanitarian work at that time. I kind of thought that maybe that work wasn't for me, and so I had thought that was going to be the last time I participated in those sorts of activities. So, what changed my mind? Check in tomorrow and I will share the next installment of the story.